Hello and welcome to this session on JMeter. Today we are going to learn about module controller and include controller, and we will see how we can make our JMeter scripts modular and reusable. So this is going to be very easy and interesting. But before we jump into the actual application part, let us take a step back and let us understand why exactly do we need this. So let us take an example of any online application and let us take an example of an online shopping application. Now this application or any other application might have different sections and modules. So it can have a section like login, orders, we can have sections like products, inventory, we can have a page for customers and pages for promotions and events and so on. Now suppose if we have to test the performance of this application with the knowledge that we have gained with our earlier sessions, we can actually record a sequential script and then use this script into our JMeter to do a performance analysis. However, this will not be a very efficient approach because we are doing a sequential execution of an application, and most of the times the requirement will be that we need to do a separate performance analysis of every section and produce a report. So in this case, we can do something like we can do a login and go to orders. And again, for accessing products, we can do a separate login and go to products because we have to log into the application to access any page. And similarly, for every other module, we will do a login first and then we will go to that particular module. Now again, this thing is not very much efficient because whenever there will be any change in the login module, you will have to change the scripts wherever you have used login. So again, this is not a very efficient thing and it will be a really mess and hard to maintain this kind of a script. So let us see what we can do. Let us jump into our browser and let us go to a website called typing.com, and I'm going to record a simple UI test. So I'm going to use a BlazeMeter plugin here. In case you do not know how to use it, you can go to my channel and you can go to JMeter beginner playlist, and here session 5 is how to record a UI web test. So here I have shown how to use a BlazeMeter plugin and how to use a software called BadBoy to record a UI test. So I'm using this BlazeMeter plugin here, and I will give a name to my test script and I will start recording. And here I'll give some username and a password and hit the login button. And here I will go to some sections like lessons. I'll go to the test section and I'll just stop this recording. I want to record a very simple test case, and I will go again to my plugin and say stop recording. And now I can import or export it as a JMeter file. So you can see this .jmx button. I will click here and it will get downloaded as a .jmx script. So now I can use the same script. I can go to my JMeter and I can open this script here, and you can see it is showing me all my recorded steps starting from login and all this. So I'll do one thing. I will delete some of the steps which are not needed so that we can make it even more simpler. And let me name this request as login, this as student test, and this one as student lesson. Okay, so now I have this test script. I can add a listener to see the results. So I'm adding a view results tree listener, and now I can start my testing and see if this is running. So yes, login is successful and I'm getting the data student test is successful and student lessons is also successful. So let me also add an assertion. So I'll add this user ID as an assertion here. In my student test, I'll right click and I will say add assertion, add response assertion, text response contains, and I will add this assertion. I will add the same assertion to this particular sampler as well. So now I have assertions added as well. Okay, let me again run it, verify this. So this is running fine. Now let us say that we have to test different sections. So what we can do is we can have two different thread groups, thread group 1, and I am copying and pasting this again, and this is thread group 2, and in thread group 1 I'm testing student test, so I will delete the other one, and in thread group 2 I'm testing student lessons, so I'll delete the other one, and now I can run it again to verify. Now see, this is running fine, but you must have observed that we have to use login in both of the thread groups, and even in results we are getting login 2 times, which is unnecessary because we have to do a login to access any page. So we have to use this particular script in all my thread groups. So now what we can do is we can actually create a test fragment. So what I'm doing is I'm going to the test plan, I'm going to right click, I'm going add test fragment, and I'm clicking on this test fragment. And now I will take this login inside this test fragment. Okay, and I will delete it from here as well. So you can see in our thread group we only have the actual test page in both of these thread groups, and the login is stored separately inside a test fragment. Now what I will do is inside my thread group 1 I will say add logic controller, and I will click on module controller, and now you can see in this module controller it is giving me an option to run a module. So I will click test fragment, and I will copy this and paste it in thread group 2 as well. Okay, so see, my login is stored separately, and this is being referenced in thread group 1 as well as in thread group 2 with the help of module controller. Okay, so let us run this again and see if we are getting results for this as well. So yes, we are getting results now. We are getting login and student lessons and test are successful. So see, the advantage here is if there will be change in this common module, which is login here, in this case, I will not have to change it at multiple places, but only at this particular place, which is under test fragment. So this is how we can make our scripts modular. And this is a very simple example. You might find it very useful when you have big enterprise applications to test. So all those modules which are common, you can place it inside a test fragment, and then you can reference it using a module controller in any of your test thread groups. Okay. Now, still, if you see the results, although the login is stored separately at a single location, but still it is being executed again and again. So because we have ran two thread groups, it is being executed 2 times, which we do not want. We want that it should be used only once. So let us try this, and what we can do is this login element, I will right click and I will say save as test fragment. Okay, so I click here and I will give some name and just save it. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a different thread group, and inside this thread group I'm going to have a logic controller which is called as include controller, and now I will browse the file that I have just saved. So the login file, login.jmx, I will browse it and I will save it here, and then I will have another controller which is called a simple controller, and I will add all my pages here. So I will add a student test here, and I will add a student lesson here, and now I can delete or disable these other thread groups. Okay, so you can see now what I have done is I have saved my login as a separate JMX file, and I have included it with the use of include controller, and my other pages or sections are inside this simple controller. So now let me again clear the results and run it again. So you can see login is executed, and then we have the other pages executed. So login is executed only once, and then the other rest of the sections. So this is how we can use include controller. Include controller can also be used to reuse different scripts. So you have multiple scripts which you can save as a test fragment as a .jmx file, and then you can use include controller to use it anywhere in your thread group or a test plan. So this is how we can use module controller and include controller, and this is how we can make our JMeter scripts modular and reusable. Hope you like it. Thank you.